Hello YouTube, my name's Nero, and today we have some Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, playing a bit of Domination here on the map Solar, running around with the HPR-A3 assault rifle. This gun has grown on me so much as of late. It's a gun I'm using a ton. I enjoy using the HPR just because it looks cool, it's powerful, I love the way it shoots, but this spawn right here, this is going to be weird. So I go in here, I should have expected him to be in a tunnel. Did they spawn me at their flag? Like, how does it make any sense? And they're spawning, like, other teammates here too. Like, what is with this spawn system? I simply do not understand it. But like I said, game of domination here on the map Solar. It's not too amazing, I would say, but it's a fun gameplay. It's an accurate gameplay, I guess, above everything else. You know, you see a lot of gameplay on YouTube, and it's really crazy stuff. Sometimes you see people getting 100+ gameplays, you see them get DNA bomb stuff, but this is more of an average gameplay for me. You know, it's more of a game that I get consistently, rather than, I guess some people would call this an honest gameplay, rather than trying to say, oh yeah, so here's my 40-in-1 game that totally happens all the time. It's like, no, it doesn't happen all the time. That's a standout game, and usually I post up standout games here on my channel, but occasionally it's okay to post up what I'll call an honest game. I see other YouTubers doing that as well sometimes, and I think it's kind of a good idea to show that kind of thing. Just kind of say we're all human. You know, if you see really great gameplay from a YouTuber, just remember they don't do that every game, all right? Just remember that we're all normal people as well. We just play a lot of Call of Duty, and that's why we end up getting those good games occasionally. But what we're going to do in today's video is actually talk about skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, because like I do occasionally, I was going through some old videos because yesterday was obviously it was an awesome day for me. I ended up getting a silver play button here from YouTube, which is the award for having 100,000 subscribers. Obviously, I'm well past that now, but the award finally got sent to my house and stuff. I actually got to hang it up there on the wall. It's awesome that I got the reward from YouTube. I think it's definitely nice to have something like that. And after getting it, I kind of went on a little bit of a nostalgia run, you know, and started looking back through a lot of the videos I posted, because I've posted well over 1,500 videos here on NerosCinema over the past 3 or 4 years, right? So I started looking through some old videos. I started looking back at my Black Ops 2 videos, and I found some old ones actually got a considerable amount of views compared to other stuff that was posted at the time, talking about reverse boosting in Black Ops 2 and how big of a problem that was. And I almost forgot about how big of a problem reverse boosting was in that game. And we've already learned, if you guys will know, we've already learned that Black Ops 3 is going to have the same skill-based matchmaking system as what they had in Black Ops 2, which in my memory, just initially, I'm like, oh yeah, Black Ops 2, I only remember there was skill-based matchmaking. All I remember was, you know, some games would be really competitive, other games would be really easy. It just kind of seemed random, you know, and that's all I really remembered from it. But after I went back and looked at videos, I remember it actually was kind of a big deal. But then again, Black Ops 2, while a lot of people are still playing it, it is actually a pretty old game, guys. It came out like 3+ years ago. It's been a while. It's been a very long time since Black Ops 2 was actually out, especially when Black Ops 2 was in its prime. So just keep that in mind. It's actually been quite a while. But going back to that, there was people that were actually reverse boosting. And that was like the first time that reverse boosting and abusing skill-based matchmaking, and really the entire idea of skill-based matchmaking in the Call of Duty series actually came to be, was during Black Ops 2. A lot of people started talking about the skill-based matchmaking system, how they hated the skill-based matchmaking system, how Black Ops 2 was far too sweaty of a game, and everyone was sweating too much, and they just wanted to have a relaxed Call of Duty experience. And YouTubers, a lot of people on YouTube, they make their channels and they grow their channels based off the gameplay that they post. I don't think I fall into that category. I think when I started YouTube, I may have fell into that category. I would post up, you know, Moabs back in Modern Warfare 3, or I would post up, you know, 70+ kill gameplays, or, you know, triple swarms, you know, things like that. But I don't do that anymore. One, because that's not really representative of who I am as a player. I don't get that kind of gameplay very often, and when I do get it, it's awesome and I post it, but it's not the gameplay I get very often, and nor do I want to become a person that becomes so reliant on getting that crazy gameplay that my entire life gets consumed by trying to do ridiculously well in Call of Duty all the time, because as you guys know, that can be very frustrating. You know, if you join a match, and this is one of the things that made Modern Warfare 3 not fun for me, if you join a match and like, okay, I better get a Moab this game, and if you don't get a Moab, you're just frustrated. You're more angry than anything. You'll go 50-1 and you're frustrated and you're upset with the fact that you went 50-1, because you're like, okay, well, I almost got the Moab twice there, or something like that. I guess 50-1 wouldn't make sense, because that would technically mean you end up getting a Moab, unless you had kill streaks involved, I suppose. But that's neither here nor there. That's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make here is it's not fun being a gameplay kind of person like that, just because you kind of feel this pressure all the time to always perform at a ridiculously high level, and if you do that, then you kind of lose your enjoyment for Call of Duty. And that's something I don't want to lose. I've been playing Call of Duty since, you know, 2007. You guys know that. I talk about that a lot here on my channel, and I still enjoy the game. I still enjoy the franchise. I want to continue to enjoy the game. I want to continue to enjoy the franchise. And part of that is not being so stressed out when I play and just enjoying myself when I play, right? And so I can understand, especially from that perspective, I can understand why people don't like the idea of skill-based matchmaking. But in principle, I would say skill-based matchmaking is a good thing. It's good because it's going to put, someone that's as good as you, you're going to be facing people that are just about as good as you, people that are new to the game. They have a new environment for them to learn, which is good, right? And people that are like experienced veterans, people that have really good stats, people that are just very, very good players in general, they'll constantly have a bunch of competition because they'll be facing other people of about the same skill level. Sounds pretty good in theory, but at the same time, it's also kind of a bad system, because if there's that system in place and you admit to the fact that the system is in place, then people are going to do what they can to intentionally break that system or try to exploit and cheat the system, right? That's something they did when we first learned that there was skill-based matchmaking in Black Ops 2. What did people immediately start doing, right? You would see all the time. I remember specifically, it was a lot was in gun game, and a lot of it was in sharpshooter. You would go there and people were just killing themselves over and over, just killing themselves so they could have worse stats. And the worse stats you had, the easier your games got, basically. No one really knows exactly how skill-based matchmaking works. Some people say it's based upon kill-death ratio. Others might claim it's from win-loss ratio. Others might claim it's from your score per minute. And people like me probably think it's just kind of a combination of all three. But regardless, it does exist. And immediately, as soon as we learned out about it, people started exploiting it and trying to exploit the best they could. And I remember, man, it happened a ton back in Black Ops 2. Of course, here in Advanced Warfare, it's one of the biggest hot topic issues, right? Everyone's talking about it. Everyone talks about skill-based matchmaking, especially when the game first came out. Here on DNA Saturday, every single week, man, I post up DNA bombs that are sent in by subscribers, and often, way more often than not, they get accused like, well, Nero, how do we know, right? How do we know that these people aren't reverse boosting? How do we know these people are actually playing legitimate players? Because, obviously the people they're facing weren't very good, because if they were, they wouldn't have gotten a DNA bomb on them, which makes sense, right? But the thing about it is there's no real way to find out that kind of information. See, back in Black Ops 2, and this is why I made so many videos talking about it in Black Ops 2, it was like, okay, so if you guys want to find out if your favorite YouTubers are reverse boosters, it's simple. You go to Call of Duty Elite, which at the time was elite.callofduty.com, and you go there, you type in their gamer tag or their PlayStation ID, and you can see their stats. And I was like, I didn't show them because I've never been that kind of person. I will never be that kind of person on YouTube. If I have a problem with another YouTuber, or another YouTuber is like doing something that's kind of shady, like a little shady, I'm not going to talk about it for the most part, right? If there's a YouTube commentator out there that's a reverse booster, you will not find me making a video saying, hey, this person is a reverse booster, allow me to show you his stats. I'm not going to do that. That's none of my business. But I told everyone, like, okay, just go to Call of Duty Elite, type in that person's name, and see. And there's a lot of them, and a lot of people that are still on YouTube today that had, negative KDs, like a 30% win-loss ratio, and like horrible score per minute stuff. They were intentionally tanking their stats in Black Ops 2 as to try and get better gameplay for their YouTube channels, which in some respects you can kind of understand that because there's a lot of pressure as a gameplay person, but still, it's reverse boosting. It's not the same as, actual gameplay. And then the whole point of it kind of defeats the point of the exercise, because when you watch somebody that gets like 100+ gameplay, you're like, wow, that guy's a really good player. Well, you'd probably think differently if you saw what they did to have to acquire something like that, right? So it's definitely, there's a lot of controversy there. And then, of course, it always goes back to the same topic. Well, if you'll never get 100+ gameplay on good players anyway, so why does it matter? And it's like, yeah, I kind of understand that as well. But the point of it is, you shouldn't try to abuse the system that's there. The system that is in place is to try and make it so you face people of an equal skill level, to everyone has a fair shot against each other. And I've always been the kind of person that's been okay with that. I mean, once again, I can empathize with the people that would want to abuse skill-based matchmaking because they want a more laid-back Call of Duty experience, but that's not the experience that you should be getting. A lot of games are actually set up this way, right? A lot of games have a skill-based matchmaking system now. It's kind of commonplace within the gaming scene, especially the multiplayer gaming scene, I suppose, where you're going to be facing other people of a similar rank. That way, new players who are new to the game, just trying to cut their teeth, trying to learn how to play the game, they have an experience to learn. They have a place to learn, a place to experience all this new stuff of this brand new game. That's a good thing. We definitely want that. And I can understand Advanced Warfare. It's a rough game sometimes, but I think people put too much emphasis on skill-based matchmaking, because I would say, based upon Drifter's video where he talked a while back kind of explaining skill-based matchmaking and the formulas behind it, I think I'm like in the top echelon of skill-based matchmaking. Like, not to toot my horn, because my stats aren't even that great, to be honest. It's just kind of a low bar that I'm kind of at the top of, I guess. But my KD is like a 1.75 right now. My win-loss is like a 0.8, because of course the win-loss ratio glitch when the game first came out. That was just tanking everybody's stats stats without us wanting it to. My score per minute is somewhere around 500-ish, somewhere in that range. So I'd say I'm up there in skill-based matchmaking, but I don't care. I don't care who they put me up against. I just enjoy playing the game, and I don't care if I'm facing great players. I don't care if I'm facing terrible players. I just want to play the game. I'll face whoever they put up against me. And I can understand Advanced Warfare can be a little bit difficult, but I think a lot of people need to realize that Advanced Warfare itself, by the very design of it, is a lot more of a random game. If you actually pay attention to like the score and the scores of the people in the lobbies that you're playing in, I think you'll notice that a lot of people they're not as good as you think they are. When you go in these lobbies, you're like, oh, skill-based matchmaking, everyone's such a tryhard, and then you look at the scores, there's nobody really on the opposing team that excelled above anybody else. There's no one on your team that usually excels. I just think by the very nature that there's exosuits and the lack of a sound system, because of course you can hear the exosuits, but you can't hear footsteps and stuff, it's pretty difficult to do ridiculously well in Advanced Warfare, and it's also kind of up the randomness factor a little bit, which makes it a bit more difficult to, try and do well, especially if you're used to a system like Black Ops 2, you're used to Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, all the other Call of Duties and whatever. If you're used to that kind of system, Advanced Warfare is, of course, a lot different. So I think that's something a lot of people are having trouble adjusting to, or are still having trouble adjusting to, and they're, of course, just trying to blame skill-based matchmaking, and then they give up, and they go and buy God accounts, which, of course, God accounts, people are reverse boosting all the time. It's a whole issue, man. It is a giant issue, the idea of reverse boosting and how it affects Call of Duty. It is affecting a ton of people, especially here on YouTube, and I know I'm not the only person that cares about this kind of thing, because you guys obviously watch my YouTube channel. You obviously have a vested interest in Call of Duty, way more so than like your typical fan that you may bump into at GameStop while waiting for the midnight release or something. And, you probably have a lot bigger of an interest in Call of Duty, and you care about this kind of stuff. You care about what your favorite YouTubers are doing. You care about what the people in your lobbies are going to be doing. You care about just the game in general. And skill-based matchmaking in Black Ops 3 is going to be the same as Black Ops 2. At least that's what we've been told. And from what we can remember and what we can draw back, and you can find these videos on YouTube still, reverse boosting was possible in Black Ops 2. Is it going to be another Advanced Warfare? Are we going to be having the same system? I don't think Advanced Warfare necessarily has a more ramped up skill-based matchmaking system, because I think that's something that we were kind of thinking when the game first came out. Like, oh man, this game's so hard. I'm not immediately good at this game, so we must be having so much trouble. It's a stupid skill-based matchmaking. Once again, I think you can draw it to the fact that Advanced Warfare is a bit more random as compared to other Call of Duty games, just because of the very nature that there's exosuits in the game. So I think that's a big reason why people are kind of having difficulty with that. But I'd say the skill-based matchmaking in Advanced Warfare compared to Black Ops 2 is probably maybe about the same if you really think about it. You're just going to be facing relatively good competition most of the time. Of course, there's times where you don't face that great competition. I had an 80-kill gameplay running around with the SN6 when I was playing around with that last Prestige. You guys saw that, and it's like, it can happen. Occasionally you just get lucky in one of the lobbies that you're playing. That's understandable. But skill-based matchmaking is going to be in Black Ops 3. It's going to be just about the same as what was in Black Ops 2, and I'm wondering if Treyarch is going to have a solution to this problem. A solution that is going to make it so people cannot reverse boost. I wonder if there's going to be things in place for that. Of course, Michael Condrey and Sledgehammer Games have come out and condemn the idea of reverse boosting in Advanced Warfare, saying they will ban people, but, there's a lot of stuff that can still happen. There is, of course, people that have God accounts, and they sell God accounts, which they call these God accounts. Essentially what it is somebody goes and reverse boosts a whole lot, then they sell that account, the email and the password and all that stuff, to somebody else so they can go play on that easy account and get gameplay, right? It's nuts, and going back to what we were talking about earlier, how do I know people that send in stuff for DNA Saturday are not reverse boosters themselves? It's like, because Call of Duty Elite doesn't exist anymore. What we talked about in Black Ops 2, whenever you wanted to, find out if somebody's a reverse booster or not, you just type in their stuff in the Call of Duty Elite and you get to see all their stats, all their information, and it was good. It was good to find out that kind of stuff. But then they got rid of Call of Duty Elite, and there's a website called like COD Tracker, which a couple people have linked to me, and I've looked at that, and I can look up my own. It's weird. It's really hit or miss. I can look up my own stats on there, and my stats are accurate. And I'm like, okay, so this website works. Then you type in someone else's gamer tag, and it's like, well, that doesn't exist. It's like, how doesn't it exist? I'm typing it in perfectly. And it's like, nope, that doesn't exist. And it's like, oh, well, okay, then I guess I'm just wrong, I suppose. But it's really difficult to track that kind of information. And it's a whole ordeal, man. It's a whole ordeal. So I wonder if Treyarch is going to have a solution to this in the future. That's the big thing. That's why I want you guys to take away from this video. I'm kind of putting faith in Treyarch. I think a lot of us are putting a lot of faith in Treyarch with the stuff we've learned about Black Ops 3 so far. But I think they're going to hopefully have something in place to kind of counter this and just make it so people play the game. Just play the game right, you know? Just go up against whoever they want you to go up against. You know, if you want to just go and stomp through people, I suppose that would be, you know, just go play against bots or something, you know? It just makes more sense that way. And if you are the kind of player that feels so Advanced Warfare in the skill-based matchmaking is far too ramped up, I think you need to take a lot of other things into consideration. You need to take into consideration that the weapon balance hasn't been the greatest. I'm not gonna rant about that, but the weapon balance hasn't been the greatest, and plus just the randomness that Advanced Warfare has in it, just because of the very nature of exosuits. And if you think about that, and then you look at the skill-based matchmaking that actually happened in Black Ops 2, they're kind of the same. You know, the skill-based matchmaking systems are roughly the same. You're still going to have a lot of competition regardless of what game you're playing, and it's something that you kind of just need to accept. But there's some people that refuse to accept it, and then they try and cheat the system, and it's just kind of a whole can of worms, right? It's a whole can of worms. But I guess I don't have any solutions. I guess the only real solution I have is to ban reverse boosters. And there's some of you out there that are like, Nero, don't ban us. We just like to, you know, have fun when we're playing Call of Duty, and we have fun by facing bad players. And it's like, well, I understand that, but it's not fair to them. And it's just a whole can of worms, man. It's a whole can of worms. But regardless, I hope you guys will enjoy this little discussion video. That's what we did today. Discussing skill-based matchmaking in the Call of Duty series, what it's going to be like in Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Once again, confirmed to be just about the same as what was in Black Ops 2. And because of nostalgia, right? Because we always think back, oh, Black Ops 2, that game was so good back in its prime. I loved it. And so many people are still playing it. You think back, you have these rose-tinted glasses, and I understand that. But if you go back and actually look at the videos and you just kind of actually think real hard about what it was like when Black Ops 2 was originally out, skill-based matchmaking and reverse boosting was kind of a problem. It was happening a lot. So hopefully they have a better solution for that. But by the fact that they said, you know, it's going to be the same as what was in Black Ops 2, and those problems did exist in Black Ops 2, I think they've come up with some kind of solution. I just don't know what that solution would be. So let me know in the comment section below, what would your solution to this be? What would your solution to reverse boosting be for Call of Duty Black Ops 3? Let me know about that. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. And if you did, please be sure to leave a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.